Hi, everyone. Susan Winter here today. Welcome back to my channel. I see we have some new people here. Welcome, all of you. Today, I'm talking about attraction, and I'm talking about 4 ways that you can activate attraction. You can become more attractive. Not to worry, don't have to be a different you, but take what you already have and enhance it. So we're going to talk about ways to work around this, because what if you're not a 10? What if you don't even think you're a 7? Maybe you're a 6. How do you find your way to be noticed in an online dating world where people are swiping? And let's face it, we are all visually driven. We have to be. I'm going to be very real with you today. I'm not going to pretend that doesn't count, because it does. And when people cannot sense your personality, when they don't have an idea of who you are, when they cannot communicate with you, they will go strictly from your looks. Now, let me start with the origin of this. No, we're not all superficial, but we are biologically pre-programmed to like what we like, and the visual is the way to immediately detect it. Ladies in the straight world, which I hate about guys, that they're always looking, that they always want to, procreate. Yep, they've been biologically programmed to procreate, provide, and protect. That is their job, to keep the species going. That's why they are always on green light. And what are they looking for? The most visible examples of health, youth, vitality. Probably the prettiest girl in the room. And guys, you may hate the fact that you think women are gold diggers. Where does that come from? There are gold diggers. There are out and out social climbers, transactional relationships, and gold diggers. But where does it come from? The desire to have the greatest resources to protect your young. These can get way out of context in the modern world, but it's the basis of why visual is important, and why visual is the deciding factor between who's going to be a friend and who's going to be a romantic partner. Now, let's talk about how to overcome that and enhance everything else if visual is not your 100%, you don't have it there, all right? And this is good for everybody. I think it's very smart to be a well-developed and well-rounded human being for you, for your own enjoyment of life. So what we are going to do is apply compensation. Think of attraction, desirability, sexual allure as being a circle. It's got 100 parts. The 100 parts are fluid. It doesn't have to all be in the physical looks category. It's divided into other factors, and depending upon who's looking at you and who's interacting with you, one section can be more dominant than others. We know that there are sapiosexuals, people that are more attracted to intelligence, like that's number 1. There are so many things that alter our perspective of what is attractive and desirable romantically. And here's how you can compensate. Remember, it's very fluid. Do not wish that you were a 10. There are lots of problems with being a 10. I've worked with 10s. I know 10s. I've met 10s. I've dated 10s. It's a nightmare. Oftentimes, they've done no work on themselves. Never had to. They don't have to really work to get a job. They don't have to really work to get a date. That's great. What happens when you're 50 or 60? I mean, you're not developed. You didn't have to. You got to pass. And you don't really have self-esteem for yourself. You start to realize that people like you only for your looks. There's another side to it. So let's talk about being well-rounded. Let me see here. Jillian here is saying hi to everybody. I will be taking super chats if you have a question. So here's the first thing. All right, personality. How many of you, honestly, have been talking to somebody drop dead gorgeous and they are bloody boring? You're just like pulling teeth. Because again, they don't know how to interact because they've never really had to work at it. Or they're so stuck up or insecure or whatever that they've got a million barricades up, and you can't feel their warmth. they start to become very unattractive. I was stuck in the back seat of a BMW in the early 80s when that was the thing, with a very wealthy man and his beautiful, perfect looking wife. And I had to sit through about 2.5 hours of traffic to get to the Hamptons. And my God, I tried everything in the world to talk to this lady. She was one of those modelly types, long drinks of water, bleach blonde. It was just, I was dying. Now, maybe if I were a guy, I would have had more ability to withstand the boredom, but there was no conversation that had to do with like topics in the news or culture or arts or personality or dating. I had to ask her about her family, her likes. I mean, it was an interview. It was a nightmare. And then her nose got crooked and her eyes got smaller. And then I realized she wasn't that pretty. So what we find attractive is greatly enhanced by personality. That's number one. Personality can be as simple as you don't have an attitude. As Alex said earlier here, that you're kind, that you're warm. Personality is great. And if you haven't worked on charisma and personality, I really urge you to consider it. It's going to hold you instead, whether it's business, if you're in sales. Hey, salespeople have the personality. Is it put on? Yes, it's learned. It's a craft, but they're great in a conversation. So personality is one, a positive outlook on life. Two, you don't have a lot of obvious baggage and barriers that you're bringing into a discussion so that people are like, ooh, this person's touchy or they're too opinionated. You're positive, you're warm, you're open, you're engaging. This is a lovely quality. That means we like to interact with you. And if we're uncertain as to whether we're attracted to you, the more time we spend in your company, the more attracted we become to you. I want you all to understand that when you work on these 4 segments of compensation, you can completely tip the scales from somebody who was definitely no to, yeah, this is interesting. But you need to have developed a sense of personality. So that's engaging, charismatic, and you've got to be a great conversationalist. I know conversation is hard for those of you who are shy or introverts. If you have to take classes on it, do so. But one of the ways that you become an interesting conversationalist is that number 2, you are interesting. What makes you interesting? Knowledge, experience, life. Did you go to the Himalayas or did you go to the mall? Did you start a business or are you doing something else? Let's see. Oh, okay. I'm going to get to you in just a minute, doll. Thank you so much for the super chat. So interesting is based upon knowledge and information. Do you keep up with current events? Do you have more than an opinion? Are you a specialist in a certain field? This makes you interesting to talk to. If we were at a cocktail party and you had some really interesting career and you want to talk about that, we'd have questions for you. This makes you interesting. So having a developed skill set makes you interesting. It's information, it's being open-minded, and another aspect that is so exciting that makes you interesting as a person, and I think somebody said this at the top of the chat, is that you're interested in the person you're talking to. Not that, hand in drink, kind of cruising the bar, nodding at them, looking to see if you can get something better. Very much focused on them. Human beings love to be flattered by your presence and your attention. When you are paying attention to somebody speak, we start to like you. And our impression of whether you would be for us or not can dramatically change. I have watched myself talk to engaging people that I would have if I walked into the room, they said, would you date this one? I'd say, absolutely not. End up sitting down, having a long conversation. They're fascinating. They're informed. They're curious. They're interested in the world, in life, and Better yet, they're interested in me. What's not to lose? I mean, this is a fabulous combination. So think about that. Your personality, which involves conversation, and that you're interesting. Okay, let me get now. Before I give you the last two, I'm going to get to one of the super chats we have right here. Okay, oh, please, I hope I don't touch the wrong buttons and it goes away again. Oh, Flower Power says personality, honesty, and emotional intelligence and attractive. Yep, they're very attractive. Okay, Nathusa says, I have an issue with being attracted to everyone and not caring if I am attractive either. I am authentic and feel like a like-minded person will see it. Wait, I have an issue with being attracted to anyone and not caring if I'm attractive either. I'm authentic and I feel like a like-minded person will see it. Do they? Are you having trouble having them see it? I mean, we would like to think that the beingness of who we are walking out in the world is just like so easily recognizable, like, oh my God, you're amazing. I'm not asking you to be somebody else. But oftentimes the effort is applied in the interaction. Maybe you need, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with you, and I'm not saying this is a correction, but we can get too laid back expecting that if they don't come to us, well, there's something wrong with them. And if you ever find that you're at a sticking point and that there seem to be fewer people that you find yourself attracted to, and now life is getting a little bit boring romantically, you may want to consider being more inquisitive and learning more about another person and seeing if maybe on first glance they don't look one way, but when you open up the box, they become something else. I truly believe that being authentic is great. That is great. I'm going to go sideways in a story that is quite beautiful. And I'm going to be vague on purpose, so forgive me because I'm doing this to protect my client. I had a call from a young man who has a debilitating disease physically, and he was seeking confidence in dating. And as I'm looking at the clock, I'm like, oh my God, I got 45 minutes. What can I do with this 45 minutes? Where do I go from here? Right off the bat, 95% of the people that look at you would go, no way, I'm having that. This is young and it's getting worse. And I really had to think. And I thought, wait, I know how to do this. And I want you all to pay attention to what I'm going to say. If there's a negative aspect that you see in your presentation, in your physique, in your whatever that's working against you, your job, our job is to flip it to a positive opposite. I'm huge on alchemy, whether it's doing cognitive behavioral therapy or the concept of ourselves. And I got a vibe as to who he was. And I had an image of a way to transform what looked like a malady, a weakness, into something very powerful that I'd seen in movies, almost a character, but it fit him perfectly because it was elegant and dapper and refined, exactly what he actually was in real life. So we found a new identity format for the presentation, not separate from the person. But I came up with an idea to transform the outer appearance of how this comes off in a first impression to create hip and cool out of something that might have looked like, oh God, no, I'm not going to get anywhere near that. And it was beautiful. I could hear within the call him absolutely blossoming, and we'd really hit on something. And oddly enough, it was exactly who he was at his core. No matter what you think is against you, there is a way to flip it. Short guys, I can't fix that. And you can't fix it either. And I know there are a lot of women that actually date short guys. This is a whole category of conversation about men that feel that they're too short. And the reason we like men that are taller Again, it goes back to the protection. We're primarily like encoded to look for the man that can protect us. And if you weigh 20 pounds less than us and you're like 4 inches shorter, we may not initially see you as being the man to take care of us. This is where compensation works. Compensation means that you can do the other two things that I'm talking about. You can have a great personality. You can be an incredible conversationalist and incredibly interesting because you have a craft, a business, or whatever that puts you at the top. And of course, does that equal success? Yes. When you're really good at what you do, it oftentimes equates to financial success, which we know makes everybody look gorgeous. But not to go for the money in and of itself. You're going for the experience of this, the fullness of yourself. Do you understand? So this is something you can work around. I had a journalist that I worked with quite a lot, big, tall, very Nordic looking blonde gal. And she married a man from Argentina who maybe is 5'5". I know a couple of classic blonde beauties. One was a soap star. Married a guy 4 or 5 inches taller than her. Never going to wear heels again, which happened to be okay for both of these gals. And the men were not only short, but they were diminutive in stature. Two amazing guys. And what cut through was their unbelievable achievement, abilities, all the allness of who they were overrode this instinct within women to look for the big, powerful, protective one, and saw that this was the guy who was going to be devoted, powerful, protective, and a heavy hitter in his own right. And both men were very successful. They had a job that they loved. One was a professional musician, and the other was in financial services, but amazing. So don't think for a moment that you have something that will totally block you, because you look at the news, and I know you do this, and you see people with each other, and you're like, what in the world? What? So you immediately go, oh, that one must have money because she'd never be with him otherwise. He's ugly. Sometimes that's all it was. But you can do this in an authentic way that's good for you and still be yourself at the same time. Let me see if I have any other questions. Oh, Jillian says, I dated plenty of very physically good-looking men that I could not feel an attraction for because their personalities were a complete turnoff. Yeah, they've never had to develop themselves. Okay, ladies in your 50s, if there are any in this audience, late 40s, you know that one divorced guy in your community, really good looking, far more good looking than anybody else. But what is he? Guaranteed 9 times out of 10. Poorly employed, works job to job and kind of cruises, hangs out with a woman for a while, maybe lives with her, calls her a girlfriend, and then moves on to somebody else. Kind of like a vagabond playboy. They're always really good looking. So they always get some new woman to take care of them or help them with their business, but they've never developed themselves. You'll notice that very few of those guys are like the heavy hitters. They're just kind of lingering in the community. And I've seen this happen so many times with the men that are popular in the communities. And they're kind of a nightmare to be with because they're used to having it very easy and people doing things for them. On the flip side, Jillian says, wait, where did Jillian go? Okay, underneath here. MD, do you think the attractive criteria change when dating a younger guy, 10 years younger? I feel uncertain about what attracts them. Well, it's easier to be attractive for people my older. Okay, so you're a man or a woman that wants to know about younger people. For a younger partner, it has been, in my research, it is your power, your confidence, and your achievement that is the turn on. Don't be worried. That doesn't always mean that they are looking for opportunity and gain and that it's completely transactional on their part. It just means that you're somebody they look up to. You're a power source. And that's kind of like, wow, that's sexy. It's sexy for all of us. We'd all like to be in the company of somebody that has a passion, is good at their job, is creative, intelligent, functional. I mean, these are very exciting qualities. Now, don't be afraid to do the super chats, but if you have a question, I'm going to go on to the last two things that can make you far more attractive. Okay. So we went over personality and we went over that you're interesting, and an interesting person is interested in others. 3, humor. Everybody puts this on their wish list. What do they mean by humor? It doesn't mean that you have to tell jokes. Some of my guys that are learning approach systems, they think they have to tell jokes and they repeat these corny jokes and they don't have good delivery. Don't. It's not about that. It means a lightness to your personality. It means, I think the sexiest form of humor is wit. You can even have a social commentary that's sarcastic, but it's based in intelligence, what you find interesting. Just commentary on something, your observation. It's when you're quick on your feet mentally and you can say something that's humorous without trying to be funny, but you know it's going to be funny because of the angle, that is very sexy. People love people with a sense of humor, people that are smiling and laughing and happy. They like that. Not to ever make fun of somebody else, but certainly there's enough going on in the world that there can be social satire. Let me see, what do we have here? I think we have another one. Okay. Nafusa, again, $5. Thank you, honey, for your super chat contribution. Do you think broken families have contributed to the lack of healthy relationship blueprint today and a societal push for genders to be at odds? I don't know that broken families in and of themselves will equate to broken children. I do think that the way I'd frame it is a kind of a yes, in that the problems within a relationship, let's talk hetero world. You see the mother and the father, and they're at odds, and they're not getting along, and they're not able to present to their children conflict resolution. And maybe you hear the mother say, "That damn bastard, men are always like that." And a kid will take this in as the truth. So it can set an imprint to skew our understanding of the other sex. I was blessed with a father I adored. Therefore, you might notice I truly love men. I understand them. I'm not saying that every man in the world is good. There are some that I see doing stuff to my friends, and I'm all over my friend, and they're like, "Stop telling me what to do. I'm going to do what I want to do." And I'm like, "This person's using you. Don't you see it? They're horrible, horrible." And I did last week's video, The Justified Narcissist, because I'm so protective of a friend, because I see this abusive guy who's just so self-indulgent. It's me. Like taking care of myself, you need to accept that because it's about me. It's like such bullshit, right? And I get crazy with that stuff because it's unfair. But to get back to this, it is so common nowadays to come from broken families. I think maybe it's more realistic to show kids that love doesn't always last. What lasts are resentments. So we have to establish the ability to talk to each other. I cannot tell you how many married men I speak to that do not say to their wife what they're telling me. And half of the time I'm counseling them, I'm like, "Have you ever had this discussion with her?" "Oh, no, she'd go crazy." I'm like, "Oh my God, if you can't talk, you can't fix." So there's a lot in this. Would a happy, tight family unit give the kids a great impression of two loving parents, independent of their sex? Absolutely. In that way, I agree. But it isn't necessarily that if you come from a family that's a divorced parents, that you're going to have a skewed perspective. Again, it is the input that child has heard repetitively. Friends, females, I can't tell you how many things I heard growing up in the assessments of other people, other races, other socioeconomic groups. The stuff I heard that you do today, you couldn't even say any of it. And I grew up hearing that as commentary. Doesn't mean I absorbed it, but I always looked at that as being odd from day one. Half of almost everything that people said in their analysis I thought was completely off. But I was a kid. I figured I didn't know. So let's go on with your questions. If you have it, send through the super chats if you have something you'd like me to address. Hi, is there a way to control who we are attracting? Yes. Somehow I'm mostly attracting married, taken men, and it's exhausting. You may be at that age group. Don't beat yourself up. I did this, I work in the metaverse too, for fun once in a while. And I had this woman ask me the same question. And I said, how old are you? And she said, I'm like 34, 32, 38. I'm like, well, they're married. If you're like 28 to 32, 33, you might be attracting men that are married. Because they're just like, they're married. That's it. It doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It means they're hoping. They're hoping. And the point where they become free again is oftentimes 7 to 12 years into the marriage. The kids are in school. Things are a little bit more stable. Sometimes they will plan it. They know they want to leave and they'll plan it. So that the kids are in junior high or something, so that they're out of grade school. It's not so difficult. And then partners become free in their early 40s to mid 40s. So it could just be the age group that you're in. But I wonder what it is about you that they're not seeing you as relationship material and they're seeing you as side chick material, because I don't know what that is. I'm happy to work with you. We can solve this in a couple minutes. But with me not knowing, I'm not saying, I'm not automatically like, oh, there's something wrong with you. There's definitely something wrong with everybody else out there. I know that. I'm listening to this all day long. So just so you know, we can get you tuned up beautifully. And it does not mean that there are healthy people you're going to run into out there. But you will have the adequate filter to be able to know what is healthy and what isn't. Now, I went into humor. That's number 3. Okay, good. Flower Power said something. Communication is important. Okay, Daniel. Alex, you caught this for me. Thank you, my dear. Hi, Daniel, first-time listener. How are you? Hi, Susan. Joined here with my Auntie Erica from the UK. Yes. Why does it feel so rare to find someone that is genuine nowadays? So many games and toxicity. I'm guessing you're a young guy and you grew up in the Instagram time period, and maybe you're now flipping into TikTok for Gen Z. I find this so interesting of the millennial culture in general, what we've been left with. Brilliant shifts in equality and rights for individuals of all sorts, and great new business models that break the chain of the hierarchy. But so ironic that we have as the social media app of choice Instagram, which is 100% fake images, fake PR, posturing. Everybody has a 7-figure business. Are you out of your mind? Oh, and I'm working on my 7-figure business. And every shot is in a 5-star restaurant and every hotel, and you do nothing but travel the world and live in Amalfi and live all over and show us how gorgeous you are with all the filters and all the images and all the makeup. And all. The age group that claims they're all about authenticity has been social media so fake. It's astounding to me. I would have mental health issues up the wazoo if I were 35 years now. Now I know why you all need medicine and you need doctors, you need therapists. If I grew up seeing that every day, I would be a night. And it teaches people to be false. We get rewarded for being fake, yeah? Because we win. We win at whatever it is we want. And I love the fact, Daniel, that you're here. And thank you, Auntie Erica, for bringing him. Being real takes a lot of courage. Being real is something that happens over a period of time. Some people are just lucky. They're real from day one. Actually, they don't really have the skills to play game, so they're just real. But if you're smart and you've been exposed, you may have found ways to protect yourself, defense mechanisms that you'd like to give up today and just stand courageously and be yourself and let people think what they think. But that is an evolution. Most of the people that you are exposed to now are desperately looking for self-esteem and confidence. And the more they chase it with false images of presentation, the further they get from it. So if you're asking these questions and you're seeing this, congratulations. It's upsetting to you because it's not your truth. It's upsetting to you because it feels false. And you know what? You're right. It is false. We can't help people that are under the wheel of this impression and go with the flow. There's a lot of pressure for the outsiders. There's a lot of pressure for people who don't buy into status quo, no matter what it is, for what age group or what, what's cool today or what isn't. I always look at this in terms of fashion. Certain fashions come out and there are people who should just know, with my body, I can't wear this. I don't care if everybody's wearing it. It doesn't go for my physique. It doesn't go for my age, but yet we don't think independently. So independent thinking is crucial to finding your identity and your truth. Now, here's the good news. The more you are authentic and real, the more people you will meet who are. And the more people you will meet who will be confused because they won't know what you are. It's like looking at an animal in the jungle they've never seen before, so they don't know what this animal is. They might back away. They might try and attack it. You let those people go. You get rid of them. If you can find one or two or three honest, decent, good people, hang on to them and just be the person that you are proud of. Nobody else's opinion matters. Your job is your life. Your life is what you create. You create what you envision to be your greatest self, and then you have the balls to live it. And everybody else can part ways. And then in 10 years, when they wake up from the unconscious slumber of being dictated to as to what's cool, they're going to see you and go, oh shit, what happened to Daniel, man? He's amazing. Why did I never see that before? End of story. Thank you. Thank you, Alex Lips, for letting me see this. Yeah, dating out there, it's a toxic minefield. I feel very badly. Christy says, I'm not attracted to anyone on the dating apps. Listen, COVID did everybody on the dating apps a service. Put them on a video date. If you're not sure, you get a sketchy feeling, I don't know, are they? Don't just, my friend just jumps right away to give them her personal telephone number. I urge everybody to get a Google number for dating. They're free. You can choose the area code you want. That's what all the scammers do. They choose an area code like they live with you, and meanwhile, they're God knows where in the world. It routes into your number. You give that to people you don't know. I put that on my business cards. It routes to my personal number, but you can't be texting me all day and night. And I have to press 1 to answer your call, or you go right to voicemail. So I get rid of a lot of nonsense. That's 1. 2, put them on a video call first. Now, Coach T. Anthony is wonderful. The date coach. He's a friend of mine from Instagram. He has taken, by the way, Daniel, a 3-month break from social media for his sanity. Those are people in my business. We crank it out this way. I don't do any kinds of ads, promotion. I don't do any advertising. Everything is this, but it's a lot of this so that you all know who I am. But so he had a protocol for online dating that you immediately jump to the app. There is an app in most every online setting that will allow you to go right to a video date. That way, if they're boring as hell, you don't have to drive all the way across town, get dressed up, put on heels, or park your car for God knows how much money, and then end up paying for a dinner you don't want to be on. And by the way, I'm not a fan of dinner dates only because you're trapped too long. I'm not a fan of a movie date. A movie date is not a good first date. I mean, you can't talk to them. You're sitting next to somebody you may want to get away from. They may try and touch you. You don't want them. It doesn't allow you to do what you have to do. Okay. I agree. Give them a chance, yet cautiously. Profiles only tell part of the story. Okay. Let's see. I feel burnt out. No one is attractive to me. I have no desire even to talk to anyone who likes me on there. Then don't do it. If it's not fun, it's not good, and you're up to here with it, stop. I have a trainer who is an Olympic cyclist. He had been cycling since he was 10 or 12. The reason that they don't get sponsorship when they're young is because the burnout rate is huge. After racing for the Olympics, you know what he did? He can't get on a bike. He spent 2 years not even riding. He was so burnt out. What do we say? Oh no, push through. No. Take a break. Let it go. There's something very interesting that happens when you take a break. I've worked with a lot of couples lately, and I've had the same thing come up. A young couple that's trying to conceive, and then all the stress that puts on the relationship and the IVF and all this stuff that's going on, and then the mood swings and all the drama. And then they finally just give up. That's when they get pregnant. It's the same thing with like trying too hard to date. You keep hitting the wall, hitting the wall, hitting the wall. There's no success. You get frustrated. You can't move forward with that negative energy. It will not work for you. It will work against you. So what do? You stop. And you know when they say love happens when you're not looking for it? When you quit, you give up, you're like, damn, that's it. Boom, you're going to meet somebody. You're like, why didn't I do this before? So don't be afraid to pull the trigger on anything that doesn't feel good and stop doing it. Fourth thing, important for me to get this out to all of you, accomplishments, talents, goals. Are you a top e-gamer? Speaking of Serbia, there are lots of them coming in there. Are you a linguist? Are you a beekeeper, a musician? It is about ambition. Now, ambition, success, it gives you cachet. Of course, you're going to show up on a date and you're going to try and have shoes polished and an iron shirt. And you're not going to have a t-shirt with like coffee stains on it. So of course, we're going to take care of our appearance. That's obvious. Go to the gym. That's obvious. All of this is going to make you feel better and make you more attractive. But accomplishments, notoriety, being known for something, it adds to our value. And for those of us as we age, though many of us, like myself, found this late life career that kind of came to me and I'm like, oh man, what do I do with this? I just kind of started to do it. But as a woman who ages, let's say I'm Susan from, I don't know, Baltimore. I'm Susan from Baltimore, as opposed to I'm Susan from Baltimore that has a YouTube channel and a following. And so cachet, being known for something, having something that you do, whether it's that you have a pottery obsession and you make beautiful pots, or that you are an artist or you're a singer, developing a skill and becoming accomplished in a specific area allows you to increase your entire level of attractiveness. And this will be very good as we all age, because I have to be honest with you, youth and beauty, those are the barter chips, okay? There's a time where youth and beauty will not be on your side. And that is when it's vitally important to have personality, be interesting, have a sense of humor, and have accomplishments, talents, even goals and drives. And for young guys, Daniel, what's attractive, we don't have to see you that you already have it to make you attractive. What we have to see is that you're ambitious enough to want to be more than you are today. So for the people that really appreciate partners that are driven, I think it's a very good quality. I personally wouldn't want someone in my life who didn't have a passion, a goal, a drive, a desire, and that they were trying to improve their skills at whatever it is that they love. And rather than, I mean, I don't even think I know I wouldn't find a trust fund kid to be exciting. Not at all. Got all the money in the world to take me any place I wanted to go. You haven't developed yourself. If all you've done is spend money and keep yourself busy, I don't think I could find you. I couldn't find you. Who are you? What's your heartbeat? What do you stand for? What did you come here to do? What are you doing with your life? Who are you becoming? How are you impacting the people around you? What contribution are you making? What service are you providing to the world? How are you using your time here? That's exciting. Now, let me stop with all that. Do you all understand this? Okay? I want you to understand that it's never just about looks. Looks help. But when you add these other factors, you can actually move the dial from no way to, wow, I really want to see that person again. There's something about them. It can make you more attractive, more romantically, sexually attractive. Okay, so what do we have going in here? Send me your super chats before I log off for today. Freemason Susan. Let's see. Okay, if you're burnt out, just get off. I've taken a long break, Diana says, from dating, and I'm intending to use this time to invest back into myself. It feels so good. That is the best place to find somebody, though you don't even want to. Anything you invest in this bank is yours forever. No matter how great your relationship, there's no one in the world who can promise you forever nowadays. Oh, they might live with you for the rest of your days, but we don't know that they're going to love you and you'll love them. You may just do time together and stay together because it's easier. So if you're looking for a quality relationship, as we are nowadays, you are looking for certain parameters to be filled. And all of you should have a very clear blueprint as to what those basic needs are when you go out and date. That stops a lot of the infiltration of nonsense. If you don't know what you want, you'll get what they give you, right? You know that. Okay. What do we have here? Gnarly Cat, so nice to see you. I love the fact that you're talking to each other. If someone ghosts you for a week, do they come back? Dee Dee, sometimes they do, but like everybody else is saying to you, why do you want them back? I was on a call today because I try and learn about the business. I never knew how to do this as a business. I know how to help you. I didn't know how to do this as a business. So I know my skill set. And we were talking about somebody was like, when you have these free calls to sign up for a program, I do group classes. And every once in a while, we'd have somebody that could have had the opportunity to actually speak to me personally for free. And they don't show up. I'm like, what the fuck? You don't show up? You got a one-time chance to talk to me for free, and you don't even honor that call? And so people were saying, like, do I call them back? I'm like, if you don't respect me enough to show up or to follow through, there's no way I want to work with you, and you should feel the same way. Let me guess, this person was good looking. Are you attracted to the wrong things? Now, this is not blaming you. I'm just saying you want somebody who doesn't want you. That's a road to known anxiety. It's so much easier to want somebody who wants you. I did a video a while back, and again, I don't do SEO titles. I have friends that make hundreds of thousands of dollars on ads. I don't. Not on YouTube. I write titles that are exactly what you're going to get. And the title of it was, why did you pick someone so difficult? Because it's a good question. Why did you do that? You set yourself up for failure. If they ghost you, how much skin do they have in the game? How much do they respect you? And it's not personal nowadays, like Daniel said. There's just toxic bad behavior. So if they don't want to pay attention to you, they don't have to. And if you allow that and you pursue them and try to get them back in, that's an invitation to treat me however you want. I don't care. All right. Are there any other questions? Let me know. Don't be shy. Flower Power. Susan, you are such a blessing to everyone. Great, authentic, safe advice. Thank you, my Jordy. Hi, Jordy. Hi. Dating apps are the worst for people acting like they are a product and telling lies. Okay. It's also the pictures with dogs that aren't theirs that makes everyone laugh every time. Oh my goodness, that is a good one. I had heard that you're supposed to take a picture with a dog. Yep. Uh, Daniel says, thank you, Susan. We were speaking to Daniel, first time listener. He said, I can't stand social media. From what I know, it really affects people's mental health. It does. Maybe I'm old school. I have the luxury of being old enough to know what it's like to be dated properly, with respect, to know what it's like to meet people who only are pursuing me to lock me down forever in marriage, who only date for the purpose of getting into a relationship, who are there to look to love and be loved, who used a phone to make phone calls, and who didn't have access to being their own social media account. They weren't their own social media rep. Yeah, so actually what was said about them was factual, not what they wanted to make facts. So we live in a very different time period, which all of you will need discernment. This is a good time to let you know about the Dating Games Guide. I've got a very inexpensive little product that you can click down below here. The Dating Games Guide is an AI search of every conversation I've had about bad dating behavior, hot and cold, dating games, seduction techniques. All you do, it's an app you can put on your phone. All you do is click on it, say, I don't know, backpedaling, window shopping, hot and cold. You'll get the exact moment of the video that I'm talking about it. I know Gnarly Cat and a bunch of other people have gotten it. It's really helpful, especially now that it's on your phone. Check that out. The more you know what it isn't, the more you're going to be clear on what it is. All right? So you've got that, right? Anything else today? Any other questions for me? I'm going to grab the questions. Okay. I use a Google number. Okay, everyone, people are burnt out. Victoria, an attractive man owns his own business, divorced, yet he's a player total. You don't know how to believe anything he says. You know, players, players are a lot of work. You want to change what they are, and you really can't. There's a certain disposition of a person, male or female, that likes to be a player. They're not ready. They don't value relationships. They're not ready for a relationship, and don't think that you're going to be the one that turns them. This is just ridiculous, delusional thinking. It doesn't matter. At their heart, they probably don't know how to have a relationship, don't really value it, and aren't interested in learning. And you don't want to be cutting your teeth with an adult person that doesn't know what they're doing. That's even more dangerous. At least the young are somewhat naive and impressionable and maybe open-minded still. But I'd stay away from players. Gnarly Cat says there are people that rent out their pets to other people to take pics with them. Nika, we got a job for you. Where are you? Damn, make money on my dog. Yeah, I never thought about that. Okay, better off with that. Okay, everyone. Ellie42, Susan, any advice for a woman dating in her mid-40s? Got hurt last relationship by tried online dating, but so frustrating. Would love to find someone genuine and natural. Go to a natural environment. I say this over and over again. Go get involved in groups, organizations with other people. And it can be online or it can be out in the real world now that we can all get out. Find people that like what you like. I don't care if it's a book club or Shakespeare or billiards or jogging or pet grooming. Try and find something that might include people of whatever gender you're interested in. Okay. I mean, if you take a yoga class, it's almost all women and a couple guys. So do what you love and find the person there. Alex Flips, 10 pounds. Thank you, Alex. She told me about a doctor appointment. If I wished her well, asked her how it went. It feels a bit needy, but it was the right thing to do. I did say I would remember. Oh, wait, am I? It feels a bit needy. Is the Alex is I'm getting this out of context. Is this the same person that said she wasn't interested after you asked her out on a date? If it is, then I would put all of this aside. A no is a no. I'm not saying you can't reboot it, but do you have some of these things down? Have you actually really taken it upon yourself to be a great conversationalist in the meantime? Take classes on banter. Are you up on current events? I know we talked about finding things that she could relate to. I think this is the same lady as before. I just worry when they say no, they say no. Oftentimes we have that moment to impress them. And if they don't see it then, and there's a very short time period in between, we haven't got sufficient ammunition to prove ourselves to be different than their first opinion. Time away or time to develop yourself and then meet somebody again can oftentimes reboot somebody that didn't see you as a possibility, where now you have different components to your personality that make you more attractive. So that can work. But I think this is the lady at work. I think you're going to have to write me and let me know if this is right or not. Okay. All right, everybody. I wish there'd be a site that would have the names and surnames of all the players with their photos. There was, so we can stay away from oh God, it was a long time ago. It was the early 2000s. It was called like, Don't Date Him Girl. And women would put in the photos and say, he's a married guy. He told me this and that. They used to have that. And I bet there is. I don't know of it myself, but I bet you money there is. Okay, everyone. So I'm about to sign off unless you have any burning desires. If you don't know how to sort your way through this attraction thing, I urge you to book a consultation. I can walk you through it like I did with my young male that had a physical condition. We can find a way to flip what you think is your negative and make it your positive. It takes creative thinking. And if you haven't done it on your own, I do suggest you have a second opinion from somebody that can do it. If you are burnt out and tired, take a break. Invest in yourself, be around good people, just let it go. It's not going to work from the energy of where you are. We all have to take a break and reboot. Okay? Nika, you coming here? Because Jordy has a possible new career for you. Now she's lying down in the corner. A life of luxury. Everyone, I'll see you next week. Thank you, members of the YouTube station. Thank you so much. I see your colors here. Thank you for coming back each week. I really love this. Bea and Gwyneth and Alex, thank you for being my mods. What is the app I can put on my phone to get the videos you posted? It is called Retrieve, and you have to go down to the description here. It's called the Dating Games Guide. It's really wonderful. And in the next month, in the next few weeks, we're going to have a discount again. YouTube members, if it's in your category, you get an automatic discount. I think you get $10 off the bundle price, no matter what it is. So everybody take a look. And bye-bye, dear Susan and Susanites. Bea says, we're all babysitting today with our little ones. Watched you while cleaning his teeth. After all, I said, Susie. Okay. All right, everyone. We'll see you next week. If you have something you'd like me to discuss, go to susanwinter.net. That's where you can book me, and that's also where you can leave video requests. And oftentimes, I take your video request and I move it into a segment here for the live show. I'll see you all next week. Happy New Year. Thank you, Susanites. Thank you all for coming back here. I've really enjoyed meeting the new people. Don't be afraid to ask me questions here. I'm here to serve you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye now. Take care.